Sunday Rise, presented by the Sideline Junkies. It's me, the big guy KG. As you can see from the screen, and as you will hear in podcast land, we got a full house this morning. Joined by the man that pays the bills, keeps the lights on, make sure the guys in the truck are paid very, very handsomely. They just got a raise this week, up to 79 cents an hour. The boss, BJ.
Oh, we didn't agree on 79 cents. Oh, that's something to talk about off camera. We didn't agree on that.
No, man. You got the man that has them climaxing like they met in the ladies' room. You better buy your tickets today because they'll sell out in a day or two. The Midnight Rider.
What's going on, folks?
And we have the birthday girl, day late, but she's still a birthday girl. She's the one that threw the bra on stage at the Drake concert. So Drake was looking for her. Drake, we found her. It's the Swamp Queen, Lady C.
Hey, now don't be trying to tell all the secrets. Now don't be telling all the secrets. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes and the love that I felt yesterday. Still celebrating for the weekend. You know, tomorrow I got to go be an adult now.
See, that's the part right there to get you. You got to go be a goddamn adult.
That's the worst. Yeah. That's the worst.
So, like we start off, like we always do with this time. How's everybody feeling?
I'm not hungover like I thought I would be.
Good.
So, yeah. That's about it. That's all I got.
I'm a bit worried. I walked out on my balcony yesterday and I went through a spider web that I can only describe may have been for me and not a small bug. Because when I went through it, it sounded like Hulk Hogan ripping his t-shirt. So now anything that touches me, anything that I rub up against, I'm just you'll notice it through the podcast. But I'm quite worried now. I thought I found the culprit, but I think that was a part of the sacrifice in the web. I don't think that was the right spider. So to give you the context, when I went out and closed the balcony door, there's a wasp on top of the door not moving. So yeah, that just lets you know what I walked through last night.
And were you like a ninja for like 20 seconds?
No. It was complete.
Did you do the whole ninja thing?
No.
Like 20 seconds?
Hearing the web rip, I was just like, nah, this can't be. What made this? That's what I was on. What made this? This is like what Ben is doing. This might be Spider-Man coming through here fighting Venom, and he threw a web over here on accident. That's what it felt like. It felt like walking through the Party City stuff and spray. That's what it felt like I walked through. So yeah, I'm a bit worried.
Nah, you know what that sound like? I'm not sure if y'all remember. I'm not sure if y'all even watched. If you watched The Hobbit, this is the Desolation of Smaug when they were going through the valley with the spiders. And them spiders were really, really huge, and they were enough to wrap up all the hobbits.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Bilbo, everybody, you need to call Bilbo. That's who you need to call. Because Bilbo got to put the ring on so he can get them all. He can hear what they saying. I take it you guys don't watch. Y'all never watched the Hobbit trilogy.
Nah, I've seen that part though. No. I've seen that part. I've seen that part, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and that is terrifying. So if you would have put the ring on and put your ear in the direction of my house, you would just hear the spiders like, he got a blowtorch. Go, Gil, go. He got a blowtorch. That's what you would hear. So that's what I'm on right now. Spider Watch.
Midnight Rider.
Oh man, I'm good, man. I was thoroughly entertained by the first 15 minutes of the WrestleManiacs. That's probably classic. That needs to be a reel if it isn't one already. I had to jump out because I took some medicine for my foot, and I made it to the introductions of Spence and Crawford, and then I was knocked out. So Spence lasted longer during the fight than I did. He can chalk that up.
Speaking of which, we're gonna have to talk about that later on in the show. But I don't think it's what it was built up to be.
No, it was. They just did it 2 years too late.
Kind of like Pacquiao Mayweather.
Yeah, they waited too long.
Like how long did it last? Like
9 rounds.
9 rounds, but I mean, after the second, I think people knew. And if I wasn't greedy, I'd have been close last night. Because I had it going 7, but the odds were plus 3,000 for Crawford and it was plus 6,000 for Spence. And I was like, you only live once. You only live once. Go
for broke.
We don't throw the check down over here.
Good morning to you, Ross.
Morning, Ross.
Everybody having a good morning, man. But as for me, I'm hanging in there. I'm making it. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's it.
I'll leave everything else to not being said. Got a job to do, so I'm about to do it. First and foremost, this is an NFL pack show. We're gonna have we got some MLB coming up later on. Just talking about Scherzer. Lady C says she has some Olympics to talk about, and I've been wanting to hear what she has to say about her homegirl Sha'Carri coming through, blowing everybody away, and everybody's quiet about it. Also, like I said before, we'll talk about Spence Crawford from last night because most of us probably didn't even get through it, but
neither did he.
So, first and foremost, we teased this on Thursday. We teased it just a little bit on Thursday. RFK is back in play for the Washington Commanders. Mayor Muriel Bowser, whom I've had issues with for quite some time because she's not Marion Barry, but I got issues with anybody that's not Marion Barry. So, but she said something. She hinted around being a little coy about the Commanders coming back to DC and RFK being back in play. What I'm hearing is they're trying to get the land grant from the government. DC is so they can lease the land to the Commanders. So I'll start with the boss BJ and we'll go around boss BJ, Midnight Rider, Lady C, and then I'll finish it up.
Hey, can Midnight Rider go first? I'm having some technical difficulties.
Okay, Midnight Rider, Lady C, boss BJ, and then I'll finish it up.
Okay, no, I'm joking. So this is easy for me. I think if you've watched us, listened to us in the past, I said I don't have any faith in the council. I still do not have faith in the council. But, and this is a big butt, like a big old butt, like, oh my God, Becky, look at that butt, kind of a butt. The butt is Mitchell Rales. Mitchell Rales does a lot of business in the city. And I think what's going to be the thing or the key is he's got some companies that's probably coming up for a lease to renew their lease in the city. That's the ultimate leverage play. Leveraging what you have to get what you want. So I can see this ending up in RFK. In the words, actually, KG, I'll let you finish this sentence. In the words of Marty Schottenheimer, what does he say? There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. And that's it. There's hope on the horizon. And its name is Mitchell Rales. And I think this is the only way this gets done in DC. Is he's going to push a couple buttons. He's got some properties. He's probably in a couple of people's districts. And, they get a gentle reminder that, hey, we don't like the stadium being here. And he was like, yeah, and I don't like my business being here. So which one do you want? And I think that's going to change some opinions. And I think that's the door. That's the gateway to getting this team back in DC. And I think that's the only way it gets back into DC is if we get some political plays because there's enough momentum right now that I think people have to jump off the tracks that's standing in the way because the momentum is building because of something that's off the field stuff in terms of businesses being run by very important people. So that's how I see it. So I see hope on the horizon.
And I like how you use the Ronnie Ho quote there. You got to use what you got to get what you want. But looking at what you got, you probably only get a Civic. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. That's all I got, man. I think I have way more. My hope. The second I heard that conversation, I started thinking about it. I think I was at 2%. I'm at about 72% now that they'll be back in RFK.
Lady.
Yep.
So yeah, as not a Commanders fan, as a diehard Saints fan, I fully have no dogs in this fight. But honestly, I think they never should have left. Because that's where they've been. Like that's where the roots, that's the foundation. That's where they've been. Like they never should have left.
We are smack on the butt away from that not happening.
Yeah, but I mean, there's always going to be some type of backdoor parlay with everything, with the politics and greasing hands and licking elbows, type shit. So there's always going to be some stuff like that. Greasing palms. Hey, not you licking your own elbow. I'm just saying that's a more podcast friendly way of saying brown nosing, to licking elbows. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. They never should have left, but there's always going to be some type of backdoor parlay, backroom parlay. DJ, what you got?
Just think of how much the previous owner was hated. Just think about that for a second. Just think about this man hasn't been gone a month. And you've already took the storm clouds that has followed this franchise for 20-something years. And they're completely gone. They're completely gone. It's sunshine. It's no clouds. It's 75 degrees, no humidity. And like the Midnight Rider said, you go from not a chance in hell to get to RFK to now that this is probably it. Northern Virginia, the National Harbor site, they can just go home. That's where it is now because, and I'm a piggyback off the Midnight Rider because everything he said is right. You have a train right now that, business-wise, political-wise, that is dangerous for you to stand in the way of, what could mean you not getting reelected or you're not making money off your business. That's how powerful this franchise is when in the right hands. If Thanos has all 5 Infinity Stones in the right hand, he's dangerous. But if you give it to Captain America, we could do some good now. And I think Captain America has all the Infinity Stones. And this team, we talked about it. We talked about what to do with RFK. We went through this whole rabbit hole. And ladies and gentlemen, now it's time. It's time. You're going to get your team back at RFK. There's no other way to put it. You're going to get your team back in RFK. I think the powers that be understand what it would mean if they're a part of this team not coming back. And that's careers done. That is careers done. So it's here. You Midnight Rider said he was at 72%. I'm at 90%. It's just when are they gonna break ground? When is everybody gonna have their clean hard hats on that that they're gonna throw in the trash as soon as they get off camera, and the new shovels and the hopefully burgundy and gold tape they're going to cut. That's when are we getting there? That's where we're at now.
I'm gonna say this. 2 things. Number one, I hope that when they do, granted, I never wanted to see RFK demolished, but knowing that they're going to demolish it and redevelop the site, I hope like hell I get a phone call from a certain somebody in Ohio that say, "Hey, I got something for you. You're gonna love this. I need you to go out there and take care of this." Okay, you know, representing Helen Hunt Motors. So, you know, you go out there and you take care of it. Hey, you need vehicles, we got you. We got all the vehicles that you need to take care of shit. We sell golf carts. But I hope.
Why is it that I'm seeing you picturing you on your hands and knees all over this stadium?
Because I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. You know the legends that have walked over that stadium? I'm not worthy. Just all day long. Every pillar. Just that's it. But here's the thing. I've said it for 5 years. 5 years that this team should be back in DC, no problem. And Ross, you said Mayor for life, Marion Barry. That's my whole point. And myself, the boss BJ, even the Midnight Rider, we've had this conversation. If Jack Kent Cook didn't smack Sharon Pratt Kelly on the ass, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They would have found somewhere to put that daggone stadium because you found some place to put Capital One, you found some place to put National Stadium, you found some place to put Audi Field. There's always something. So, but I've been talking about this ad nauseum for 5 years, and I was told it was a pipe dream. Well, guess what? My pipe dream has just come true almost. You know, everybody at 70. BJ said he's at 90. I'm at about 98. That's where I'm at. I'm at about 98% that this deal is done because it's too much money and commerce. So I'm just feeling good about that. Feeling good. But now we talked about it. What was that? Tuesday? We talked about dome stadiums in DC and things like that. And that's what the ownership group was talking about when they said building a new stadium. They want a stadium with a dome, but a retractable roof at the least. If they can get a retractable roof.
Oh, like the toilet bowl at Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, but our roof is actually going to work. You know, theirs get stuck a lot. They can't flush their toilet. Speaking of which, bucket list, and I would love for you guys to be there with me. Everybody, you know, listening, I would love for, you know, minus the Cowboy fans. I want to go down to Texas Stadium or whatever their Cowboy Stadium. I want to do a tour, and I want to walk on the field, and I want to walk right at the 50-yard line, and right at that star, I want to let my Taco Bell go right there on that star. But I need y'all with me because y'all gonna have to get me out of jail. So
we'll be in the parking lot. We'll be at the parking lot.
And a car running.
We'll have some at the police station already ready. You want to, like, when you want to do this? Because we need time to set up the GoFundMe.
It's gonna be a while.
Okay.
I gotta get out of trouble first. I'm already in trouble saying this, so I gotta get out of trouble first. It's got to be a sneak tip. Ross said Josh and the group had discussions prior to the sale being finalized. They did. Because remember, Magic Johnson met with DC before the sale was finalized. He met with Mayor Bowser. I think, and that's another thing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ross said this on Thursday. Magic Johnson is the community liaison, basically. Because right. Magic gonna come in there, he gonna flash that $1,000 smile, and you gonna be like, "Hey, take my money." He gonna get to talking, and you gonna be like, "Shit, all right, whatever Magic wanna do, let's do it." But that's just the charisma of Magic Johnson.
So here's my goal. Oh, go ahead.
And Ross said we all
rolling with us.
Yeah.
No, I'm not getting locked up. Not getting locked up. No. I'm a good girl. I can't get locked up. I'm not built for prison. I'm not.
So the way I see this is, and this is just off listening this week. I see the stadium back at RFK. I see the training facility somewhere like in Crystal City,
where the Americana was.
something like that. Like I don't think it's there. I think it's got to be somewhere a little bit more space. But like wherever, I think they were talking about like Amazon has like a H2 headquarters somewhere. But one of them sites in Virginia, hopefully like more northern than Ashburn, because that way it makes more sense for the guys to commute from the game at RFK into Northern Virginia instead of having to go all the way down to Ashburn.
But here's the problem with that. If you put it in Crystal City is right off of 395. 395 is already a clusterfuck as far as traffic goes on a normal day. We can go. It's 11:46 on a Sunday. We can all get in the car and hit 395 from 3 different directions. Lady C, it's gonna take you a little longer, so you probably won't be here till tomorrow. But it's still gonna be traffic, and we're all gonna run into the same amount of traffic from each direction.
But what I'm saying is, if they practice in, because here's my problem, my thoughts on the downfall of Maryland being the home of the hub is, I don't think the school system around there is going to be inviting, and I think you're going to miss out on players coming to the area because they're not going to want these kids in PG County schools, and I think that kind of hinders that a little bit. Now maybe they go up a little north. I don't know where the better schools are in Maryland. I'm not a Maryland aficionado, so I think having it somewhere in the middle of Virginia, in the northern part, that's closer to the city, will make it easier for the players to kind of deal with that, because that's always been an issue. Always has been an issue.
Well, I can tell you for sure they're not going to put it in D.C. because cost of living's too high in D.C. and there's no space. But I agree. I can't see any practice facility being out of Ashburn, because all we've known is Ashburn majority of our lives. What was the original Redskin Park was what? Loudoun County? I think it was. It was not too far away from Ashburn, but it was a little bit further north. That's what the original Redskin Park was.
Right, but it's been in Ashburn the whole time. It's just they changed the address a little bit. That's all.
Yeah.
Either way it go, I'm not driving in Maryland, DC. I appreciate the traffic jams that we don't have down here in Great Old Louisiana. My anxiety is not built for y'all's traffic. Like that's just not me. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I will ride, I will Uber, hell, I even walk, but I'm not driving nothing. I will drive the driver crazy, but I'm not gonna do that.
You missing a treat.
No, definitely not. Nope. No.
All right. Next up on the docket, Jonathan Taylor requested a trade. Jim Irsay said no. They say reported was earlier this week. Jonathan Taylor requested a trade. Now, for those that are not familiar, Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis Colts running back going into his 4th year. Last year he only played 11 games, 861 yards, 4 touchdowns. His previous year was his career high, 17 games, 1,811 yards, 18 touchdowns. He had 40 receptions and 2 touchdowns. And he was a fantasy football darling year before last. Not so much last year. He missed a lot of time. With all this talk about running backs not getting paid, do you think that number one, he'll get whatever he's looking for with this trade, or do you think Irsay is just like, nah, you're gonna stay here, you're gonna play this contract out?
Well, I think Jim Irsay is really going to be. That's what I think Jim Irsay is saying right now. There's no way, if you watched any part of the Colts training camp and watched this kid Richardson, there's no way you're separating him from Jonathan Taylor. So Taylor might as well go ahead and just deal with it, because he's not getting traded. That's not going to happen at all. There's a better chance than me. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna go through all that. It's just it's no way he's getting traded. I'm gonna say it that way.
You might as well just stay. Like, let it be, ride it out, because the asset that you are, like, even though you're not, getting as much PT time as you think and as you want, you are an asset. So, and you're kind of helping them stay afloat. So just go ahead and ride that out. You got to bite that bullet and stay there.
We've been talking on this podcast at great lengths before this whole running back thing blew up about how devalued the running back position is in the league now. And you got a couple special guys that can make things happen. And I think currently, the highest paid back in the league isn't McCaffrey no more. Isn't it one of the rookies now, right? Is one of the highest paid. Check that for me, Kat. I think one of the rookies is the highest paid, or is it Robinson? I think I double check that for me.
It's not one of the rookies. Give me a second, because I just had you were like 30 minutes too late for this conversation. Because I actually had a thing on Twitter, not on Twitter, on Instagram, where it showed the highest paid player at every position.
Yeah, and I just saw one for the top 10 running backs, and McCaffrey had been number one for a while, but whoever just did their deal is number one now. But it's unfortunately for the state of running backs in the NFL, it's just not their game right now. It's just what we grew up on, and old school football. That's not what it is no more for running backs. Does it suck for the running backs? Absolutely. I think Jonathan Taylor, if he's going to stick to his guns, if you say you're not going to play, you're not going to play, but you have to be ready for the penalties to come along with not playing. Or him and his agent could go to Jim Irsay and say, look, because we all know, unfortunately, injuries is a part of the game. Somebody's going to need a running back, by trade deadline. Hey, I go out here and get out here. Hi,
Davey.
Hi, baby.
Hey, Davey.
hey.
I got
Hi, Bella.
Hi.
You leaving?
The tiny terrorist.
The two of the first interns. Okay, you ready? Okay.
I forgot what I was saying.
You're talking about the highest paid running backs, or
Yeah, so it's just for Jonathan Taylor. I understand because it's frustrating. Because as a running back, you don't know what your shelf life is. You just don't know. You don't know if you're going to go out there and have a career-ending injury, and you didn't put up all these yards, and you didn't put up you didn't bend the workhorse for the Colts, and your salary and your savings isn't going to show that at all. And it's unfortunately is. I told y'all, if I'm a GM of a team, I'm not looking for running backs in the first 3 rounds. You have to be a special guy for me to start looking at you at the 3rd round. Into the 2nd round, maybe. I'm not. There's so many running backs out here. There's so many guys that can change the game from D1, D2 down that you can find. And I think a lot of teams have caught on to this. And, me and KG talked the other night about when the last couple Super Bowl winners, have they had a top 5 running back? And it's just like, if you got 2 guys, one your quick back, one power back. If you got a guy that can mix it in a quick back, or you got a blocking back that can get you some tough yards, you got somebody to catch out the backfield, you're set. You don't need anything else. The position that you need, you tell me if the Washington Commanders would give up all 3 of their backs in the backfield for stability at quarterback, somebody that you go out there right now and not have a question mark with. You could pick any guy in the league to go back behind it. You give up all 3 of your running backs, and you got to pick a running back out of the 7th round. You're going to say yes to that every time.
Got to do.
Yeah, you're gonna say there's no running back in today's game that you would hesitate, be like, nah, I think we can win with that running back. It's not Christian McCaffrey, not Jonathan Taylor, nobody. There's nobody, over the last couple of years you can say, well, we're gonna hold off on that deal. So unfortunately, this is not a running backs market anymore. I'm be sitting back. I don't even know what's going to come out of this Jonathan Taylor thing. I just kind of sit back and watch. I mean, that was a quick no from Jim Irsay. So it's not even a negotiable. Like, hey, you're gonna do what I tell you to do, boy, and that's what it's gonna be.
You gonna toe that line every time.
You actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on that, but Bijan is the highest paid running back with the 13.72. I didn't remember seeing his face. That's why I didn't think right.
I think it just happened. He just did his deal. Yeah. And look, the kid just got drafted.
Now.
So that means
he hasn't played a down. So you don't think these other running backs that see this is like, hold up, and these teams are going to be like, so what? You either going to play or we're going to find somebody else, because there's a list of running backs out there we can find to replace you, and that's what they're on right now.
Ross says Jonathan Taylor has had 1 year. He's been hurt 2 out of the 3 years. He's not the same level as Barkley. Remember what happened to Le'Veon Bell when he held out. And Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon, it's a list of running backs that are the reason why running backs are not given the amount of money that they were once given.
So I agree and disagree with you on that statement, because some of the people that are involved in this situation, like think about Austin Eckler. He's a 7th round pick. Think of Isaiah Pacheco. He's a 7th round pick. Javonte Williams in Denver. He's a 3rd round pick. Michael Carter in the Jets. He's a 3rd round. We're talking about Robinson here, 3rd round. What's the other kid that's here? Gibson, 3rd round. You know what I'm saying? Rodriguez, 6th round. So all these groups are made up by guys that are lower level. So it's almost like they're arguing against themselves, because some of the guys that's arguing are the ones that prove the point that you can get a running back at any point in time. It's a gift and a curse.
Then you look at it. Let me get to the comments first, and I'll give my thoughts. Bijan Robinson, McCaffrey, and Kamara. That's what I think. That's what Ross was saying are the 3 highest paid. Eric Willis says Bijan Robinson. Ross also says total value by contract is Kamara, McCaffrey, Henry, A. Jones, and Chubb. So here's my thing, and this is what's also hard for me. We don't go through the same. Running is not the same as it was in the 90s and the 80s. You don't have one setback, and then if he's a 3-down back, he's up here. He's a 2-down back, and you got a 3rd down back, he's a little tier lower. But your 3rd down back could be more explosive, just a little older. But the shelf life for running backs, show me a dominant running back outside of Adrian Peterson post 2000 that has dominated past the age of 28.
I mean, I can't think of another fan.
I can't either.
I think the closest person we would get is Frank Gore, because Gore stayed dominant for a long period. A guy like Edgerrin James, they stayed over 1,000 yards into their 30s. But outside of those type of guys, I mean, and that's like the early 2000s that we're talking about. We're not talking about guys in the last 10 years. I can't think of anybody besides Peterson. No. I mean, Sean Alexander got his yards, but I think he didn't do it well when he was late. Curtis Martin might be another person that we could talk about. So
and then you're talking about struggle bus yards too. You're talking about force feeding these guys the ball, and they averaging. You could tell they don't have the same step as they used to. I mean, this is something that the NFLPA is going to have to address, because right now Unless you chucking out 7, 8 yards of carry, and nobody can stop you. You want some, Disney movie that that one run in the Disney movie with the music playing in the background, and all of a sudden if you ain't doing that every down, you're disposable.
Yeah.
If your name's Saquon Barkley, Austin, whoever you are, you're disposable. It doesn't matter what team you play for. The moment you go down, the next guy is going to do the exact same. There are no super special backs no more. I didn't understand when Carolina ran and gave McCaffrey the money. There are no super special backs no more. They're backs now. Can you do what we need you to do in our system? That's what it is.
Well, I think of it more as the drop off. The drop off from your star back to your second back. That difference isn't greater than going from your star receiver to your number 2 receiver.
Yes.
It's not the same as going from your starting quarterback to your backup quarterback, your best left in to your second best left in. And that's where the running backs have to understand it. It's nothing you're doing. It's nothing you can do. It's the law of physics. It's what's going on. And you got to just, at a certain point, you just got to understand, you got to make the best of what you're given and the opportunities that you have, because they're going to be fleeting. And after you turn 28 or 29, they're probably going to kick the can down the road and let you go. That's why if you look at it, you got Cook still out there looking for a contract. You got Zeke still looking for a deal. You got Fournette still looking for a deal. So you tell me.
Yes.
And Ross says receivers have become the new thing. Receivers seem to be the new running backs when it comes to contracts. And you know what? That's a gift and a curse, because you'll pay a receiver all this money, but most receivers, they come on the field at 31, 32. My God, look at this old guy here. He's a savvy veteran. Like Jerry Rice played till he was 42.
Yeah, but the difference, KG, is that, like, if you put a number 1 receiver, and we've had this statement, I've said this statement many times before, you put a number 1 receiver with any quarterback, whoever that quarterback is, especially if they're young and they're struggling, their potential, their abilities automatically takes a spike. If you look at the spike that Jalen Hurts got from having A.J. Brown, yeah, he had Devontae Freeman, but there's a difference. I mean, Devontae Smith, but there's a difference when you have an A.J. Brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, the only person that doesn't have to suffer that through this problem, not having a number 1, is Mahomes. But that's because he has Kelsey. And Kelsey is better than any other. I mean, he will be a top 5 receiver if you just went off of pass catchers and their impact. So it's the receiver is getting the love because they're making the guy that you're paying $50 million. He's making that guy better. Watch the effect that DJ Moore has on Justin Fields this year. It's gonna be a whole different story in Chicago. So you better bring your coffee and your lunch pill, because Chicago gonna be fighting in every game they play. So don't think you're gonna roll into Chicago and it's gonna be free lunch for everybody. Everybody get to eat. Not the case.
And can I backtrack on one thing? We talked about the Le'Veon Bell situation. I didn't agree with. I actually agree with Le'Veon Bell on his Pittsburgh stance, because if you put his receiving numbers up, I believe he was a top 10 receiver or top. He was in the top. I think his receiving numbers was top 10. So you can't ask me to be a top 5, top 4 back and a top 10 receiver and then not want to pay me. That I agree with Bell versus Pittsburgh, but we had to take that quote. I'm representing Le'Veon Bell there. Here's something I've been saying to you guys, and it's something that I've been going on the last couple of years. I'm a heavy Madden guy, not anymore, but how I play the game. You can stop. You can jam the line. You can't. Let's take this. If you're playing the Commanders, I got 3 good running backs. You're always going to have Chase Young, Payne, Allen, and Sweat on the field. You can't get them off the field. You got to deal with them no matter what 3 running backs you have. If I have 3 to 4 C plus B receivers, there are no teams in the league after two. Like Miami got 2, maybe 3 good cornerbacks. Once you get to that third cornerback, and you got Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, if you have a guy that comes out there on that you got 3 or 4 good receivers, you got a solid receiving core, you're going to find a weakness in the cornerbacks. It's going to be there. It doesn't matter what team it is. Just like Midnight Rider was talking about the drop-off. Okay, there is a drop-off when you got Jalen Ramsey to the next guy. There's still a drop-off no matter how good he is. There's still, he's 1A and this guy is 1B. That's still a good drop-off. But then you have teams that have 1A receivers in 3 positions, 1 through 3. Cincinnati. If you come to Cincinnati with, and you only got one good, you got deficiencies in your safeties and cornerback, you're gonna get ate up. But there are teams all across the board. There are schemes that have been proven that's had to stop these running backs from Barry Sanders all up to now. We can stop the running backs. Even if you're the 30th ranked, you can develop a scheme. You can blitz these holes. You can do this, that, and other. If you got slow cornerbacks, if you got cornerbacks and safeties that don't communicate or just not good back there, you're giving up in today's NFL, that's 45 points. That's fantasy dinner. That's what that is. So that's another reason why the running back, like you need Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow has proven that. And Joe Burrow got Mixon. You know, Mahomes. 7th round pick, Super Bowl.
Pacheco.
Dancing in the locker room, 7th round pick. It's a different game. This ain't the 70s. This ain't the 80s. This ain't the early 90s. It's not what the game is anymore. And, you know, maybe it'll be a time where it rolls back around to running backs, but I just don't see that happening no time soon. The NFL wants points, and the quickest way to score points is to put the ball in the air, and that's just what it is right now.
But even with just Pacheco, I'm sorry, go ahead, KG.
No, go ahead.
No. It's dog. We ain't doing this Barkley Shaq thing. It ain't 1-2 back to 1. You go ahead and take your point, man.
No, I was agreeing with the boss, BJ. You know, that's the hardest thing for me to do. Not agreeing with him, but to admit that the game has changed to the point that we're not in the 70s. We're not in the 80s, you know, dominating running back. There are no more dominant running backs. Just like you got maybe 1 or 2 power backs in the league. And I remember the league used to be full of power backs. You had guys like Earl Campbell, Kevin Mack, Bo Jackson, you know, Gerald Riggs. You had power backs. Power backs are few and far between because of what we've learned and the science of everything. But with what Ross said about receivers becoming the new running backs, receivers don't even last as long anymore. The durability of receivers has gone down exponentially. You know, guys are not lasting into their mid-30s anymore and being possession receivers. Larry Fitzgerald was the last one, and he got relegated to the third receiver, and he was still good on the outside. He was a good possession. You needed 7 yards on a 3rd down? Put him on the outside. I guarantee you he'll get you 8.
All Larry had to do is Larry gained 15 to 20 pounds and stuck his hand in the dirt and played tight end, he'd have lasted another 5 years easily. But that's another point. What was I going to say? Kansas City. BJ was talking about, oh, it's even better. This is the other point I was going to get to. Steelers really pay, especially running backs. And the thing about that is that's very true. But the Steelers do one thing that a lot of teams don't do well. The Steelers always draft the replacement. Whether it's a year too soon or whether it's the year too soon or the right year, they have that replacement in place, and they're not worried about it. So, like, they went from TJ Watt and Bud Dupree to TJ Watt and the Highsmith kid that they drafted a year earlier when they knew Bud's contract was going to be up. They drafted this kid I think he was out of South Carolina State, If it's not South Carolina State, it's a small school, and he's come along now. He's on his second contract. So they have this tendency to know when it's time to move on to the next guy. And honestly, the only thing that they've done in the last couple of years that's out of character was them going to get Minkah Fitzpatrick. But the second they got him, that dude has been probably one of the best safeties, if not the best safety in football.
I'll give you that. Ross also say rule changes help change the league, and that is true. That is true. It's just, here's the thing that I don't understand. What was this about? This had to be about 15 years ago when they said that running backs don't last longer than 3 to 5 years, right?
Right.
So when we come up with that and we say running backs don't last that long, what about receivers? Why are receivers not lasting that long?
But they are. You had Andre Johnson last until he was in his mid-30s.
Well, yeah.
You had I'm trying to think of all the guys. Terrell Owens. You had Chad Johnson. These guys lasted into their 33, 34 season.
And a lot of
the only person that go ahead. I'm sorry, BJ.
No, I was saying that the reason why some of them, like the Terrell Owens and the Chad Ochocinco's of the world, is not their physical ability, is that people don't want to deal with the off the field nonsense of some of the receivers. That's why some of their careers get caught. I mean, because Ochocinco and Owens could have definitely played. They just got the teams got tired of dealing with what comes with those guys.
Well.
Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown should be in the league right now, still torching people.
I get that. Now, when it comes to Ocho,
he's too busy. He's too busy in Dubai though, getting his rocks off and everything. But
Oh, you know that.
when it comes to Ocho Cinco,
but like the thing is with the pool, like it's too big. Like they're saying the expectancy of a RB wide receiver and all that is like 3 to 5 years. No, it's not. It's longer than that. But the pool is too big because everyone, you have the kids that are in college and those who are watching and coming up under them. Like everyone wants to be like them. Everyone wants to be a running back. Everybody wants to be a wide receiver. Nobody wants to be that cornerback, that tight end. They want like what's considered like the spotlight. The QB, running back, wide receivers. Like they, the playmakers. Like that's what they want to be. Hey, doo-doo. So, but yeah, no, that's not the expectancy. It's so much longer. But the pool is entirely too big. That's the problem.
Agreed. And the Midnight Rider just said it. When you got teams like Pittsburgh and these teams that draft very well, and if you got a GM, I've been saying it for a long time, your GM cannot just be planning for the 2023-2024 season. He should already be looking at the 2028 season. He should already know a soft list of his next 3 drafts. He should already know his guys that sitting at the table. This contract's coming up. This contract's coming up. What is his market value? What is he worth? What is he going to command? Who are we cutting? Who are we not tendering the contract? Who are we drafting based on our need? That should already be done for the next 3 to 4 years. I give him 3 to 4 years because you still got to deal with what's going on now. But you should already have that board up. And that's what Pittsburgh does so well, and is replace these guys. And I don't want to say they're cheap, but they know that I can go get this somewhere else. We already know what this guy is. And there's a lot of teams that don't know what this guy is, and you let certain guys go to set you back 3 to 5 years, because if you let a top A-level talent go, and you don't have something in the works to replace it, you're going to see that hurting on a team for a while. If you let that cornerback go and you don't have anybody to replace it, whether it's free agency or draft, you can see the drop off.
Well, that's the Pittsburgh wide receiver situation is that way.
That's what I was about to say.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, it's amazing. Like you're a wide receiver in Pittsburgh, expect the kid to get drafted in the 3rd round, 4th round because it's something about Tomlin, and I wouldn't doubt that Tomlin spends a little bit of his time during the course of the year in that wide receiver room with whomever his wide receiver coach is, because at William and Mary back in 1996, that's where he was laying. That's where he was doing this thing. He was playing wide receiver at William and Mary, and it's amazing how these guys in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. What's the kid that's Deontay Johnson? If that kid could catch, he'd probably have 120 catches this year. I mean, a season. But the problem is he just can't catch, so he ends up with 97. Who else? They had Chase Claypool. If Chase Claypool didn't love Chase Claypool more than he loved football, I mean, goodness gracious, he's in Chicago now.
He would be awesome.
He's a monster.
He would be if he concentrated on football for just 2 seasons. He would be
getting likes.
Oh my goodness, he would be an absolute stud. You hear me? Stud.
Think about
Juju's another one.
Juju's another one. Yep.
But see, they get them whenever they're in college, and they're the college stars, so they're already those hotheads, those big heads. So they have to try to rein that in, and they can't.
Sometimes you
because
can't. Sometimes
AB
you can't.
wasn't shit. Like, and then he's this college star, and then boom, you can't control it.
See, the thing is with AB wasn't like that before. AB was humble. He worked hard. He ran back kicks. He did everything that was asked of him. Then Burfict hit his ass and scrambled his brains, and that boy was crazy ever since.
You get your dick sucked on camera one time, and you think you the shit.
Oh Jesus!
Vontaze
Now you can't. Now you're in Dubai. Like I don't know.
One of the dirtiest players to ever grace the game.
And that's saying a lot.
You know, Vontaze Burfict was supposed to be a 1st or 2nd round draft pick, but the second he ran his 40, I think he dropped to like the 4th or 5th round. Burfict's only problem was he wasn't fast. He knew how to diagnose the play. He could do everything else. He just had trouble getting there off of just pure speed.
And I always like to make the Madden analogy. He had steady speed. Yeah, he wasn't catching nobody side to sideline. He knew where you were going, just couldn't get there.
And Ross said the ball is being thrown more, and they are getting hit more. Yeah, that's true.
But they ain't getting hit like they used to.
No, because there ain't no more jacked up segments. You used to hit them motherfucker on Sunday just to be on jacked up. He got jacked up. You talk about
because now they playing 2-hand touch, so everybody looks great because they playing 2-hand touch and pillow fights on the field. So instead of actually getting out there and playing real fucking ball.
Hey, leave the silly nannies alone.
They playing pillow fights on a Saturday night. Sleepover pillow fights.
I was gonna say something else.
That was going everywhere.
You talk about Burfict and being a dirty player. You know who he reminds me of? And when you talk about being a dirty player, give you a throwback. Conrad Dobler. Probably somebody say he's probably the dirtiest player to ever play in the NFL. But he got away with it because he was dirty within the rules. But most of the stuff that he did then would be outlawed now. And speaking of older players, we coming up on that time of year. The enshrinement is in 4 days. So you have Rondé Barber, Don Coryell, Chuck Howley, Joe Klecko, Darrelle Revis, Ken Riley, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, and DeMarcus Ware are all your inductees for 2023. Congratulations to them. Anybody on this list out of the 9 that this panel does not agree with right now?
Are we gonna do this again?
We always gonna do it.
Ken Riley, Chuck Howley, What's the Zach Thomas? Those are my easy three.
Okay.
Because if we put Zach Thomas in, we're going to make the 1990s and the early 2000s the greatest era of middle linebackers ever. Because you're going to have to put Patrick Willis in. You're going to have to put London Fletcher in. There's probably a couple other guys that I'm not thinking off the top of my head.
That's a robbery in itself that London Fletcher, Zach Thomas is going in before London Fletcher. And it's just
That's a marquee thing.
Yeah, and this is becoming a joke to me. Sterling Sharp didn't make it.
He's up for senior committee in 2024. Him, they were talking about him, Joe Jacoby, and it was somebody else from the 90s that's up for it.
This is.
But he should have never made senior committee at all. If you put Terrell Davis in, his career was shortened by injury as well. You put Terrell Davis in, you got a lot of players that were in their short amount of time were great. Sterling Sharp, you didn't hear nobody say, "Oh man, Sterling Sharp a bum." The dude set records every year. He led the league in receiving until he got injured. Automatic. But I digress. Boss BJ, you got three that you say no for.
You probably said the whole class.
This is what the NFL Hall of Fame is doing.
Becoming the Hall of Good.
It is.
It's becoming the Hall of barbecue.
I just don't. I'm not going to put these guys down. And what the Midnight Rider said is right. It's absolutely right. But I'm not going to put these guys down. I think I'm going to just say who I think should have. Darrelle Revis. Darrelle Revis is the first ballot Hall of Famer. He had the nickname Revis Island for a reason. But then you go to Rondé Barber. And this is what Deion Sanders was saying. Those are not the same class of cornerbacks. Right there, right in this class. You don't have to leave this class. Those are not the same class of cornerbacks. You got Revis Island and you got Rondé Barber that was very good for a period of time. But he wasn't Darrelle Revis. So you already have a drop-off in one class. But this is what it is now. It's sad. This is you don't. I say this every year. You don't have to fill the class every year. Make it special. You don't have to fill the class. You don't have to. Oh, we need a certain amount of people to go in the Hall of Fame this year. It is what it is. I'm gonna stop talking.
Lady C.
I agree with B. Like it needs to be like the Olympics, hell, every 4 years. Like the presidential election every 4 years. Like just let it, let there be some type of build up. This is an expectancy, and so they're scrambling to just pick somebody. It's like they're to the point where they're just like a damn bingo game. Whatever comes out, the little ball. That's who we're going with this year.
I'll say this, and I'm gonna address something. I'm gonna start with the Midnight Rider. You gave your three that you said, not this year. Don Coryell, Eric Coryell revolutionized the way the ball is passed. He long overdue. He should have been in years ago. That shouldn't have been a senior committee vote. Chuck Howley should have been in years ago, because that shouldn't have been a senior committee vote. Everybody says Chuck Howley because, he was the only player on the losing team to win MVP in Super Bowl V. He did way more than that. The dude was dominant for his era. Ken Riley finished fourth all time with 65 interceptions. All time when he retired, he was number 4. Everybody else is already in the Hall of Fame. Okay? For me, Joe Klecko. Go ahead.
That's my story right there.
For me, it's Joe Klecko. When you think of New York Sack Exchange, yeah, I know who Joe Klecko is, but Mark Gastineau was the face of that. And I'm not saying Gastineau should be in, but Klecko didn't have the numbers that Gastineau had. Just being honest. But they put Klecko in. Joe Thomas. I think Joe Thomas could have waited.
Whoa. Mm-mm. Joe Thomas was he ain't got to wait for nobody. And then maybe that's your bias because of Jacoby, but Joe Thomas shouldn't have to wait.
And speaking of which, Ross say, will Jacoby ever get in?
Probably not.
It's gonna be senior committee, but it's gonna have to be on the right year. And I think what? Hold on. So let's go back to when we started the show with. We were talking about this team, the Washington Commanders. I think what you're going to start getting is some better representation of the players of the past from people that care about the past. Now that this cloud is gone, so you might get a jump in some of these guys or a better opportunity for Jacoby now than you would have in the past. Because let's not get beyond the truth of this spectrum. The spectrum is this is a popularity contest amongst the media members.
That's what this is. Hung out for so long.
So you and if you didn't suck at the teat of the media, then you're not always getting in. There's a reason Irvin got in before even Art Monk got in. Like they try to say, the number of touchdowns. No, it's not the number of touchdowns. Art Monk set the catching record with 120. Like you gotta come on, let's be real. And maybe Washington hasn't had because there's always a national guy. That's the Washington guy. So he doesn't have the same love. Like if they had put John Keim in that position or you put a Ben Standing there, maybe Jacoby gets in as opposed to having Bell from the USA Today because he's got other responsibilities other places. So he's going to be a little more neutral than he is going to be showing the same favoritism for the guy that he's covered for that period of time.
And what's crazy is you say about Art Monk. I remember Chris Carter was upset that Art Monk got in before him. And I thought about it. I was like, Chris Carter is exciting, but Chris Carter didn't have the numbers that Art Monk had. And remember, Art Monk didn't even play out his full career. He missed a year before he went to the Jets. And he was still able. He was still able and willing to play, but nobody was signing him. But he wasn't a media darling. He didn't talk to the media. He didn't talk very much. But that's just the type of guy James Arthur Monk was. Yeah. He did his talking was done on the field. So I get it, but we coming to that part of the show. Time to wrap that shit up, B. And I'm gonna throw it over to Lady C first. Let her give us an Olympic update, and then we'll go to the Midnight Rider so he can tell us about this Max Scherzer thing.
So, be real quick about this because, this whole Shikari, that's going to have to be another day, another time because that's a whole debate that I want to have with Midnight there. But she's doing good. Yeah. But she's doing good. Everybody's like, oh, she's back. But she was really good last time. She even punched her ticket to the Olympics, but because she decided to do something else, punch something else, she lost that. So here she is, they're making a comeback and trailblazing. So she's on her way to the Worlds. After the Worlds, you have the Olympics. So right now she's first place in 100, second place after Gabby Thomas in the 200. But our beautiful thing, Mo, she's she was a champ gold medal for 1500. So, for 800, I think. But she's second place right now. and they're only taking top 3 in that area. I have to read up a little bit more on the men's side, but Jamaica is still pulling that black girl magic. And Shelly Ann Fraser Price is still doing her thing and freaking loving it. But in the gymnastics world, we have, it's rumored that Gabby was coming back. It's still a rumor. But definitely Simone Biles Owens. We have to hyphenate that. She's married now. She's married now. She pulled a nice little Tom Brady on us. That's what I'm calling it. Where she retired after the last Olympics, but now she's back. So she's making her come back. Tom Brady, he retired after the season and then came back just in time for the new season. So, but we have our 7, a few of our girls that were medalists in the Olympics. They brought home silver because Simone pulled out because of her twisties and her mental health issues, which, we definitely have to cite that. Mental health is a very big thing, especially among our community of the melanated kind. We really need to start, taking a look at our mental health. And I'm glad to see that it is on a movement, not as big as it should be, in the non-melanated world, but, in the melanated world, we need to really try to put some more into that. But however, Gabby's coming back. Jordan's coming back. They have the Classic, which it starts next week. The USA Classic, so you can watch it, check it out on Peacock, ESPN. So this is their ticket punch to the Worlds for them, and that, whoever does well at the Worlds is on that selection team for the Olympics, which will be in Le Paris in 2024, which I think I need to go this time. I need to go to Paris. I'm just saying, I need to go to Paris. Somebody need to take me. You can send me, I'll go. I need to be like, I think we need to take up a collection so I can be that on-site correspondent. Just throwing my bid out there. It'll be, the money paid for it will be a lot better, a lot more worthwhile, as opposed to getting KG out of jail for putting his Taco Bell on the Dallas Star. I'm just saying. But the track and field, Sha'Carri Richardson, we're gonna have to dig more into that because I don't think she's back. Like, she never really left. Like, she's doing what she should have done the first time. Come out, run, shut the fuck up.
Don't forget, take off the weed.
Oh yeah, throw that shit. Wow. Throw that flaming hot mess that should have never been out there in the first place. Because there's nothing for your aerodynamics, but come out there, put it out on the field, let your numbers do the talking for you. But you came out fresh out of college and you running with these big kids that's been doing this, and you got your ass whooped last year. You did good, but you got your ass whooped. And I'm the 6th fastest. Yeah, but the top 3 went, and it wasn't you. So shut the fuck up. So yeah, that's why they're quiet, because she's quiet. She's not out, jumping around and doing the dumb shit she did last year. So good for her. Quit smoking.
Didn't the men's 100 for the U.S., or I don't know if it was the U.S. trials, or the U.S. title, or for the last games they had, but like the men went under 9-7 or 9, something crazy like that. So we talk about the men's, we still got to put Noah Lyles name, put some respect on his name.
Always.
Sure. I think the
Always.
men's. I mean, I think always when it comes to the track and field, the men's 100, the men's 200, and the 4 are always going to be spotlight events, and the women's 1, 2, and 4 the same way. Sha'Carri got out nicely at her last event. I think she broke a record in that as well. So this is they setting up Paris real nice. Like this is almost like WWE style setup because they got so many storylines to put in play. The only thing that makes me nervous is you're talking about Gabby and Simone coming back, and they may be too old for the gymnastics game. Like the gymnastics thing is a young girl sport, but they do have special talent. So that's the reason why they may be able to get away with it. But I'm a little concerned that maybe you're holding back a younger person with talent because you're giving way to the experienced vets.
But if the experience and the talent weighs the same, why not?
True, but the question is,
like, if
we can get a girl on the world stage, if we can get
Gabby, yeah, I feel that she may be, a little too old, but she's not still working out like she was. But Simone, she never stopped working out.
Okay.
Like, yeah, she took her, her hiatus. She got married. She did her thing, supporting her hubby at his games and stuff like that. But, seeing clips of, her back in the gym, and she looks like, Simone never left.
Okay.
She doesn't look like Simone Biles-Owens. She looks like Simone Biles, the GOAT. Like, so she never stopped. Gabby stopped. Gabby finished college. She wrote a book. She did this. She did that. But Simone never stopped, and it's only 4 years. So that's how long it's going to take to, for them to come back anyway. So it's not like you hit the world stage once and then that's it. No, once or twice and then that's it. No, you keep going till you can't go anymore. Now, is she going to fizz out at classics? I don't think so. Now, in the world, the national champs, yeah, maybe, because she's, there's a whole competition between everything and everybody. You have the juniors and the seniors.
Okay.
So somebody easily that's, 15 can, unseat her. But she's what, 24?
Right.
23, 24. So yeah, but hell, if you still got it, baby, do it.
And I'm not saying
Because at 40, I think that I'm still blinking my eyes pretty damn good.
Okay. But all I'm saying is the 24, like it's rare that you hear about a gymnast at 24. And that's the thing I'm worried about is are you gonna get a B or C level person when you could have had somebody that could sprout on the scene and spread their wings and give you something better? But I understand everything you said and I love it. So I've never had a gymnast debate on a sports show, so I'm good right now.
It's a history. It's a feel good Black history moment. If Gabby and Simone were to be there, because it's two Black all around, champions, gold medalists, two Black all around gold medalists being there, competing at the same time for the same thing. So that's what, that's what the big pomp and circumstance is about it. It's still, being a rumor for on Gabby's side, what Gabby's seen is if she's coming back, but Simone has never stopped. Like she has her own, gym, her own training camp, her own, this, that, and the third. So yeah, she can easily do it. And I mean, if that 15-year-old wants that experience, she better step up her fucking game.
Well, that's gonna have to be a really, really good conversation we have coming up. But Max Scherzer to the Rangers.
Before we even get to that, I'm gonna get to this, but shout out to Colombia and Jamaica in the Women's World Cup. Jamaica got their one of their first wins, and Jamaica they tried to give it away because Australia. Oh my gosh, I was sitting on the edge of my seat watching that, and then this morning I woke up to highlights of Colombia winning in the last minute off a header. I think it might have been off a set piece. I don't remember, but yeah. So give them a special shout out before I even start this Scherzer thing. And I will say this: the Women's World Cup has been better than I thought, and I haven't even gambled on it yet. So me watching it without gambling on it is something special for them. So these ladies have come out and done their thing, and I want to just give them a special shout out to the ladies in general, but especially for the last two performances I saw from Jamaica and Colombia. Scherzer. He said Scherzer has become the KD of MLB. No, he hasn't. What's happened the last 3 years with Scherzer is he's been on teams that have been marginal. And once they realize that it's time to abandon ship, that team has moved him. It's not like he's gone into anybody's office and said, trade me. I demand to be traded at the beginning of the season. He was the Mets. So maybe if they lost to the Dodgers, he was like, oh, you got to trade me to the Dodgers. No, that's not what Matt said. These teams have moved him for moves that would make them better and not sitting to his demands. Like last night's deal, he had to probably authorize or say, hey, I'm going to stay in Texas for another year. And that's how they got Acuna's little brother, Luis Angel, as a part of the deal. You know, like Texas isn't giving up that caliber of player to just have a 2-month rental. This isn't 1994 anymore. This isn't the year era where the Expos were owned by MLB and they traded away Larry Walker, Moises Alou, John Wetland for a bag of Cheetos and some Funyuns. So this is a whole different era when we're talking about trades in baseball. We don't give away Smoltz for the guy from Detroit. Those deals don't happen as much anymore unless your name is Mike Rizzo. And you give up John Lester for Lane Thomas. So I think Scherzer is a good move for Texas because they actually solidify their rotation. And they give them somebody at the front end of the rotation that if he's on his game, he can lock it down for a playoff game 1 or game 2. So this is perfect move for him. He gets his money, and we'll see what happens next. But the trade you want to see is my favorite guy, I guess, Jeimer Candelario. What do the Nats get from him? Because at the beginning of the season, when he got signed, I was pissed because we signed this dude, and they told me we didn't have a direction. But the dude did what he was supposed to do in a 1-year deal, made himself trade bet, and now, boom, here we go. What can we get?
Ross saying if he's on his game, don't throw that slider.
Yeah, he's at the point now. He's 38, 39, so he's just it's part of Mother Nature taking advantage too. But wait, because probably sometime in the next 2 days, Verlander's getting moved too off of the Mets. So now the question becomes, what are the Mets doing? Are they going to revamp this, or are they just waiting to reset in the offseason?
More than likely reset because that's just what the Mets do. The Mets are doing Met things. Ross says, do you think Lane Thomas will get moved?
That's tough because I think they like what he does and what he brings. I think he may not get moved till next year once you see James Wood and maybe if Robert Hassel starts to hit better, then I think you move Lane Thomas. I think right now you ride it out with him because he's kind of become a fixture in your clubhouse and he's a young guy. So, and you got him for nothing. So it doesn't hurt you if you wait a year to move him.
And Ross said, heard this morning the Astros are pursuing Verlander.
I heard the Astros, but I also heard the Dodgers as well this morning. So it's gonna be interesting if the Astros give up somebody top flight, like they got a kid named Clifford and a kid named Gilbert in their farm system that are their top 2 prospects. So if they want to give up one of them, then you might see Verlander go to Houston.
And I'm gonna get to this real quick because this needs to be addressed. I think the boss BJ has been hacked on YouTube because it says Yankees' new slogan: "We put ourselves last, so you can be first." I think he's been hacked because he comes on his show and he talks about hating the Yankees, but I've been inside this brother's walk-in closet. He has more Yankee jerseys than I can count. He has a Derek Jeter jersey. He has a Bernie Williams jersey. The dude even has a Paul O'Neill jersey.
Well, look, I'm not going to dispute these facts. I need things to walk on to get to the car. I don't want my shoes to get dirty. So I have to have, and depending on where I live, the jersey collection has to grow depending on how many steps it is. I mean, I don't want to get my house shoes dirty. What better walking utensil than a Yankees jersey, even in the house?
Then you also got to clean out your rims.
Exactly. You got to clean your rims. I got cats. I got dogs. I got to clean up after. If the lady doesn't clean the hallway to my liking, I take a couple of those, cut them up, rip them up, go out there with some Fabuloso. Just little things like that. That's all.
Ross, you and I know the truth. I get that. You and I know the truth, so we always going to be on the same side. But hey, story time.
No, but how many of those did you actually see? That's the difference.
Why you?
Why? It's 27 and you only seen 4. I mean,
it's crazy.
Bring up 27.
It's only the Yankees y'all ever say that about.
No, I say that about my Lakers. I will tell anybody that I can only count 10. I've seen 10 championships in my lifetime. You may not be able to say that about the Yankees, but with the Lakers, I could say 10 in my lifetime.
I mean, I'm starting to think KG might have a DeLorean the way he
that might be it.
Facts and stuff. He may have been there. He may if we go back and get some still shots.
We might see him in the crowd.
You might if you touch him up and you get
instead of having the dreadlocks, or I don't know if the braids, dreadlocks, cornrows. I don't want to disrespect what you're doing with your hair. Maybe you got like an afro to fit in with the times.
Exactly. Got an
like
afro.
You get a blowout kid, get the DeLorean, sit in the stands. You watch Mantle.
It might be to another level. He might have a whole different one of them suits on where you put on. He got a whole different face and all that. It might be to fit in with the times. I mean, he may have been there.
He's a big Marvel guy, so maybe he got one of them white and red suits from Infinity Wars.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
No. He's wearing the whole pinstripe 3-piece suit, like the real gangsters. That's what he's doing.
Are you even Kevin in that time? Like, we don't know.
Yeah. What was the name? What was the name back then?
See, he might be like Henry Lee.
Story time.
Like whenever he says, remember when we was kids, he's not really talking about like whenever we were all kids at the same time. Yeah. It's like, when our great grandparents was kids.
He talking about his adventures with Doc Brown. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Story time. He might be on like a real life Benjamin Buttons case.
Story time. We were going to hang out in Baltimore. And once we were hanging out in Baltimore, we couldn't go into the block district in Baltimore because the boss BJ had on all his Yankee gear. We could not go party because of him. Now, my wife's sitting here. They on here. They just talking about me, talking about my Yankees. I don't know what the fuck is going on. They treat me like a half a fag or something. Like what is up with this?
So question, like, do you have to hit 88, and does it have to be a thunderstorm or lightning storm for you to go back to watch the Yankees win?
They perfected that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they
perfected that.
It's
probably not even a DeLorean anymore. They probably got like because KG probably got like an old Cadillac or something. He's traveling the Ville back in the future.
Oh, dues and a quarter.
Yeah. Listening to Payback is a Dog by the Stylistics. I got you.
He might be on some Bill and Ted shit. Go to a phone. He might have a phone moving hours.
If I'm riding in the deuce and a quarter, I'm listening 9 times out of 10 to Al Green. I might even throw a little Jackie Wilson in there. But that's just me. And Ross say I saw 2 in the 70s and every one since then. I've seen every one in the 90s and early 2000s. So
then you ain't seen 27.
Okay. I mean, I still call the Washington Commanders 5-time world champions, and I only seen 3.
You do. That's your fault, I guess.
They still 5-time world champions, whether you want to admit it or not.
Okay. So you're 27-time champs.
Yes.
Look at my Yankee trash truck.
Worried about Hassel, he has stalled and was billed as the best player on the trade.
I think there's some small things he can change in this week. He'll be fine.
All right, man. We gotta get out of here because y'all just. It seemed like this wasn't even a therapy session. Y'all were just piling on because y'all jealous, man. We got more rings than fingers.
Okay.
I don't even know what we got coming up on.
Go.
I'm showing up.
We got Tuesday coming up.
I don't know what I'm doing on Tuesday. I don't know if I'm showing up. I might take it off.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Don't be that way, Pookie. It's okay.
I'm a little upset because y'all always got so much to say about the Yankees. You know what?
Are y'all at least in 4th place now?
I'm gonna go treat myself to a new Yankee hat because I gotta get a new one. I gotta get it custom.
Fit it.
Oh, always fit it. I haven't worn a snapback in 25 years.
Okay.
All my hats are fitted. That's why I can't wear none of them now. Upset, but so they all hanging in the closet.
It's that dome of knowledge.
That's his motherfucking hair. All these fucking locks, man. Last time I had a hat on, I still had a mini afro. And that joint, it looked like I played in the 70s because the joint was peeking out on the sides.
No.
Then I had to take the hat off. I had to pick my hair out. That was
70s, man. You, Reggie Jackson, chilling. Yeah, it is. Up in Harlem, probably. You and Reggie up in Harlem.
Well, shoot, look at my profile picture on Facebook. Big ass afro.
Couple Colt 45s.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It be like
trying to holler at Foxy Brown.
It was Lola Falana back then, baby. Everybody wanted Lola Falana. Lola Falana and Pam Grier. But we've come to the end of our show. Oscar Gamble, yes. Afro out to here. I aspire to have an afro that big. I bet if I took my dreads out now, my afro would be pretty big. It was big before. You know, ladies dig it big. The bush. I'm talking about the bush. The bush. About the bush.
Oh,
here we go. The wheels on the bus go round and round.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This has been another production of. You say what?
I don't even know why you said that with her around.
Look, I don't want HR to get me. You know, I'm fresh into my 40s. I'm trying to change some things up. So yeah, I'm trying to be fresh cool. Don't need HR on me.
4-0?
Yeah, like yesterday. Yesterday, I'm 40.
Congratulations.
She's a baby.
I know.
Wait, she sneeze wrong. And then her knee hurt for like the next 3 days. She can't understand.
I don't know. She might sneeze wrong and actually get a little pee.
No. Look, all that started when I hit 35. Like, I would pull a muscle and my back just sneezing. Like, I dislocated my hip like a few times. I'd already been to the ER like twice this year with hip being out of socket. So like, I don't have Megan knees. I got Beyonce hips because I wake up like this. So it's just out when I wake up. So I don't know what the hell that is about.
Okay. And Ross, you're welcome, and we appreciate you.
Thank you, Ross.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. to our shenanigans and everything else. Until Tuesday, for the boss, BJ, the Midnight Rider, Ben, and the Swamp Queen. Let me get it right there, the angle, Lady C. I'm the big guy, KG. We don't do no overtime, y'all. We are out of here.